Welcome again to Campbell's Math Corner. In previous videos we have looked at solving equations in one variable. Now today we're going to be looking at solving linear inequalities in one variable. The reason for this video is that there are some students who have been asking about linear inequalities and how we go about solving them and representing them on a number line. So as such, today we're going to be looking at solving inequalities and also graphing linear inequalities. So what we should remember, or what we should know, is that linear inequalities are mathematical statements that uses any of the following symbols. It uses the less than, the greater than symbol, less than or equal to symbol, or the greater than or equal to symbol. So if you should see a mathematical statement that using any one of these symbols, right away we should be thinking of inequalities. Now the solution to an inequality is a range of values which makes a statement true. What do I mean by that? Now think about solving equations. When we solve equations, we end up with one solution. However, with solving inequalities, we actually end up with a range of values which will make the statement true. Meaning you will end up with more than one possible values that could actually make the statement true. So to graph inequalities, we look for two things. Now if the statement uses a less than or greater than symbol, then we're going to be using a circle, and that circle should be unshaded, and then we draw a arrow pointing to the direction in which we should go. If we use the less than or equal or the greater than or equal symbol, then we use a shaded circle and then draw the line in the direction in which we should go. For example, let's say we want to represent x is less than 4. So we will use a unshaded circle, and that should be at 4, and since it says less than 4, then these values the arrow should be pointing to the left. So the possible solutions for this particular statement should be values such as 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, all the way to negative infinity. All of those numbers will actually make the statement true. Now, if it was x is greater than or equal, then of course, this time it will be a shaded circle. And because it says greater than or equal to, then it should be going to the right of 4. So these values will include 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to positive infinity. Now what's the difference? Well, with the less than, it means that the values of x such that x is less than 4, it will not include 4, and as such that's why it's not shaded. However, with the second example where you see the circle is shaded, it means that the values that will be greater than or equal to 4 will include 4, as well as the other numbers that are greater than 4. So that's basically the difference. So again, an unshaded symbol is used, an unshaded circle is used to represent less than or greater than, and a shaded circle is used to represent greater than or equal or less than or equal. Alright, so some tips to solving linear inequalities. So just remember that we solve inequalities just as how we would have solved an equation. So the aim is to get the variable alone on one side and the constant on one side, and then you try to isolate by either dividing or multiplying by a number. Now the one difference, or the major difference in solving inequalities, is that if you find that you have to multiply or divide by a negative number to get the variable alone, then we are going to be changing the inequality symbol. Meaning if it was greater than before, you change it to a less than. Let's see how it actually works. So solve 3x plus 1 is greater than 7. Now, as an equation, our aim, as we said, is to get the x by itself on one side, meaning the variable is on one side and the constant on one side. So since we want to get 3x by itself, we have to remove that one first. And as such, we have to do the opposite of plus 1, which is to subtract 1. And we'll have to do that to both sides. That will leave us with 3x equals 6. Now to get x by itself, we have to divide by a positive 3. Seeing that we're multiplying x by a 3, we have to divide both sides by 3. And that will mean x will be equal to 2. Now, as I said earlier, solving inequalities is just the same. So again, we want to get x by itself, so we'll have to subtract 1 from both sides and then divide by 3, and x would be greater than 2. So notice the values of x, or the solutions, are the same. However, just remember that when we solve inequalities, the possible solutions will be a range of numbers, as opposed to an equation where we only have one possible solution. Now, how would we graph this? Now, since it says greater than, right away we should be thinking of an unshaded circle. So from 2 on our number line, we draw our unshaded circle, and we should be going to the right of 2. Alright, so as usual, here's a question that you can try. So feel free to pause the video and solve and also graph the solution. Alright, so if you have actually tried that, then you should notice that we have x minus a, which is less than negative 10. So we have to get x by itself by adding 8 to both sides. That will leave us with x is less than negative 2. Now, representing that on a number line, we look for negative 2, and at negative 2 we will use a unshaded circle. And since it says less than, then it means that we will be going to the left. Right. So we will go into the left. So all the values that are less than negative 2 would be negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, all the way to negative infinity. Alright, here's another one for you to try. Negative 3x minus 6 is greater than or equal to 12. Again, feel free to pause the video and try this one. Alright, let's see what we actually did. So we have to get negative 3x by itself. So we have to add 6 to both sides, leaving us with negative 3x greater than or equal to 18. Now to get x by itself, notice that we have to, since x is being multiplied by a negative 3, it means we have to divide by a negative 3. Now, remember the one exception with solving inequalities as opposed to solving equations. Whenever you find that you have to divide or multiply by a negative value, then we will change or reverse the inequality symbol. So notice it was greater than or equal before. Because we divided by a negative 3, it means we have to change the direction. So now it will be less than or equal to. So x is going to be less than or equal to negative 6. And of course, to represent that on a number line, since it is less than or equal, it means that our circle will be shaded, and we will be going to the left of negative 6 since it says less than. Good. So as you can see, as we said earlier, solving inequalities is pretty much the same as solving equations. So if you have grasped how to solve any equations, then solving inequalities shouldn't be a problem. The only exception, or the only thing that we should remember, is that whenever we divide or multiply by a negative number to get the value of x, then we have to reverse the symbol. So as usual, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and of course, if you like the video, Please share, comments if you want other topics to be discussed or looked at. If there's any particular questions or any particular topic that you want me to look at, feel free to leave them in the comment. And of course, continue to subscribe, continue to watch, and until next time, see you.